You ever think about all the stuff we rely on, like, every day? I mean, just to keep things, running.
Yeah, definitely. It's easy to take for granted all those little essentials.
Right. Like, whether it's at work, or even just at home, making sure you've got what you need. And sometimes, it's not just about convenience. It's like, it's crucial to actually get things done.
Absolutely. And I think when you look at fields like, let's say, healthcare or the hospitality industry, the need for reliable suppliers, that becomes even more
Oh,
critical.
for sure. If you're running a hospital or a hotel, like consistent access to quality supplies, that's not just, a nice to have. It's like absolutely essential.
Right. It directly impacts their ability to deliver those core services. I mean, think about it.
Exactly. Okay, so that kind of brings us to what we're diving into today. We came across some pretty interesting information about a company called Linen Plus.
Linen Plus. Okay.
Now, the name itself might not ring a bell right away, but what caught our eye is like their huge expansion across North America.
Oh, wow. That's ambitious, expanding across an entire continent.
Yeah, it's a big move. And, our sources really highlight how this Canadian-owned company, they're not just expanding geographically, but they're also, like, broadening their product offerings big time, like, throughout Canada and the U.S.
So they're not just covering more ground, they're also diversifying what they offer. Interesting strategy.
Totally. We've actually got a press release here that really lays this all out, and it's sparked a lot of questions for us, like what's driving this expansion? What are the factors behind it?
And from my perspective, I'm particularly curious about the impact on quality and accessibility of those essential supplies, especially in healthcare and hospitality. I mean, that's a big deal.
Right, because a bigger company doesn't always mean better service or better quality.
Not necessarily, no. So we're really going to have to dig into this.
Yeah, so in this deep dive, our mission, I guess you could say, is to really unpack the reasons behind Linen Plus's North American expansion.
Right. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, and understand what it could mean for the quality, the availability of those essential supplies that so many businesses and people rely on.
Absolutely. I'm all for that. Let's dive in.
All right. So first things first, where did Linen Plus even come from? Turns out they've got like these Canadian roots. They were founded in Edmonton, Alberta, back in 2012.
Edmonton. Wow. Okay. So they've been around for a little while then.
Yeah, over a decade,
Yeah.
by two guys, Dr. Jehangir and Gazi Haider.
Interesting. A doctor and who's Gazi Haider? What's his background?
Well, it seems like they both have like this real entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
I mean, they started as this regional linen distributor.
Okay, so they focused on a specific niche to begin with. Makes sense.
Yeah, and it seems they kind of honed their expertise in that area.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's pretty amazing to see how they've scaled up, from those regional beginnings to this like much larger operation they have now.
Yeah, from regional to continental, that's quite a leap.
Right. And this expansion, it's not like just a small tweak. It's a total transformation. They're becoming like this North American powerhouse with a way bigger distribution network.
Yeah.
And a much wider range of products.
It's like they're leveling up their entire operation.
Yeah, exactly. And they've set up fully operational facilities on both sides of the border, like in Canada and the US.
Ooh, so they're really going all in on this North American expansion. They must be seeing a lot of potential.
Totally. I mean, we're talking about distribution centers, like strategically placed across Canada. So, you've got one in Western Canada, one in Eastern Canada, covering the whole country.
Coast to coast coverage, smart move.
And then on the US side, they've got this like massive warehouse hub in Houston, Texas.
Houston makes sense. Great location for distribution across the southern U.S.
Yeah, for sure. And what's interesting is like they're clearly proud of those Canadian roots, right? But they're also embracing this North American identity.
They're bridging the gap, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Like there's this quote from Dr. Khan where he says, being Canadian owned and serving clients across Canada and the U.S. is a core part of who we are.
I like that. They're acknowledging their heritage while also looking forward.
Yeah, totally. And, it's not just about being in more places. It's about like delivering those high quality products they're known for, but with even faster service across the whole continent.
That's a key point. Speed and efficiency are critical in today's world, especially when it comes to essential supplies. Businesses can't afford to wait around.
Totally. It's all about getting the right materials to the right place at the right time. So, we've talked about their expansion, but let's zoom in on what they actually offer. Now, I know they started with linens, right?
Yeah, that was their bread and butter. Hospitality and institutional linens, think hotels, hospitals, that kind of thing.
Right, supplying the things that make those places, like, comfortable and functional.
Exactly. And they've actually become the biggest distributor of hotel linens in Canada. That's a pretty impressive feat.
Yeah, they've really carved out a niche for themselves in that industry.
So they got a strong foundation there.
But what's really caught our attention is their move into the healthcare supply market. Like, that's a big shift.
It is, especially considering the critical and consistent demand in healthcare. They're clearly leveraging their existing distribution expertise and that reputation for quality to move into this new space. It's a smart move.
Absolutely. And it seems like they're serious about it too. They've launched a whole dedicated medical supplies division up in Canada, led by Dr. Khan, actually.
Oh, interesting. So they're bringing in the medical expertise directly. Makes sense.
And this isn't just a Canadian thing either. Linen Plus US LLC, their American arm, they've also rolled out this like way more extensive range of wholesale medical products and hospital supplies.
So they're covering both sides of the border with this healthcare push.
Yeah, and what's really important here is that these products, they're being sourced to meet those like super strict FDA quality standards.
Oh, absolutely. That's a non-negotiable in the U.S. healthcare system.
Exactly. So think about it. This means healthcare providers, they can get both their everyday linens, like, bedding and towels and things.
Which are still crucial for patient comfort and hygiene.
Right. And they can also get their, like, critical medical supplies from the same trusted source.
It's a one-stop shop for essential healthcare needs. Makes things a lot easier.
Streamlines everything. Less paperwork, less hassle, more time to focus on what matters.
I bet hospitals appreciate that. It's like having a reliable partner who takes care of logistics so they can focus on patient care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, we've touched on their reputation, and it seems like Linen Plus, they've really built a solid brand over the years.
Yeah, 13 years in business, that's a testament to their consistency and quality. They've earned a strong reputation in both healthcare and linen supply, and that kind of trust, you don't build that overnight.
Definitely not. It takes time, it takes consistent quality, and it takes like really listening to what your customers need. And they've got a pretty diverse clientele too. Like we're talking hospitals, long-term care facilities, hotels, restaurants.
No, they're catering to a wide range of industries with very different needs.
Yeah, and they're providing everything from like bulk bedding to PPE. So they're really covering all the bases.
They've become a go-to source for essential supplies across multiple sectors. Impressive.
It is. And Gazi Haider, the co-founder, he actually said, this expansion is a testament to the trust our clients place in us. Like they know that their reputation is a huge part of their success.
It's the foundation of their growth. Clients trust them to deliver, and they're using that trust to expand their reach and impact. Smart strategy.
For sure. Okay, so let's like dig into the nuts and bolts of this expansion, the logistics of it all.
Right, because expanding like this, it's a huge logistical challenge.
Hmm.
They have to make sure they can actually deliver on those promises of faster service and wider product availability.
Exactly. So one of the key things they've done is they've really ramped up their distribution infrastructure. Like they've got multiple warehouse locations in both Canada and the U.S. now.
Oh, wow. So they're not just relying on one central hub. They've got a distributed network.
Yeah, it's all about strategic positioning. They're
Hmm.
placing their inventory where it needs to be to enable fast, nationwide shipping in both countries.
That's a game changer for their clients. Faster shipping means less downtime, increased efficiency, and a more reliable supply chain.
Exactly. Especially in healthcare, where time is of the essence. Like having a reliable supplier who can deliver quickly, that can literally be life-saving.
It can make all the difference in a critical situation.
And, this distributed network, it also makes them more resilient. Like, remember all those supply chain issues we saw recently?
Oh, yeah, those were rough. Really highlighted how fragile global supply chains can be.
Right. So by having this, like, more localized and diversified network, Linen Plus is kind of, like, buffering themselves against those kinds of disruptions.
Makes them a more reliable partner. Clients can have more confidence that they'll get what they need when they need it.
Exactly. And it seems like their move into the U.S., it's not just about, like, selling more stuff. It's also about creating new partnerships and offering a more, like, personalized level of customer service.
So they're not just expanding for the sake of it. They're thinking strategically about how to best serve their clients in this new market.
Yeah, it's about building relationships and really understanding the specific needs of their American customers.
It's like a two-pronged approach,
Hmm.
expanding their reach while also deepening their connections with clients. Smart move.
And Dr. Khan, he summed it up perfectly. He said, this milestone is about combining quality products with exceptional convenience on a larger scale.
I love that. It's a concise statement of their mission. They want to be the reliable backbone for their clients, the ones who take care of the essentials so their clients can focus on what they do best.
Yeah, whether that's providing healthcare, serving guests, or anything in between, it's about giving them peace of mind.
It frees them up to concentrate on their core activities without worrying about whether their supplies will arrive on time or meet their standards. That's a valuable service.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, what stands out to you the most about Linen Plus's expansion?
I think it's their evolution. They've gone from this small regional player to a major force in both the commercial linen and healthcare supply industries across North America. And they've done it by focusing on quality, service, and strategic growth. It's an impressive story.
Yeah, totally agree. And for our listeners, this could mean faster access to a wider range of top-notch products, especially if you're in healthcare. It's a sign that the supply chain for those crucial goods, it's getting stronger and more diverse.
And it really makes you think, what other companies out there, companies that started locally, might be poised for a similar kind of expansion, on a national or even global scale? What lessons can we learn from Linen Plus's success?
Yeah, that's a great question. What are the ingredients for that kind of growth? And what does it mean for the future of essential supplies in a world that's becoming increasingly interconnected?
I don't know, but it's something worth thinking about for sure.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, thanks for joining me on this deep dive. It's been really interesting to explore Linen Plus's story.
Thanks for having me. I've enjoyed it.
And to our listeners, until next time, keep thinking critically and stay curious.
And don't forget about those everyday essentials. They might be more important than you think.
Yeah, sometimes the little things make the biggest difference.